Not sure what happened there. I usually do lowercase with periods. I think it looks better. But this way, in this font, looks pretty good. I can't stop thinking about a time I got up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I say this as a joke, but I kind of can't say it without that anymore. I will notate PM to mean afternoon, but a lot of people use that to mean evening. But if I say in the PM, I mean in the post-meridian, meaning the afternoon. And then if I'm talking about the evening, I'll say EVE. This is not a universal system, but when other people will say, what do you mean the evening? I'll think, I didn't say evening, I said PM. So, just to clarify, 3 a.m. in the morning, which is, I think, the beginning of the Rule of Benedict. It's the first prayer, it's matins. So it is the morning. I set my alarm for 2:45 so that I would get up by 3. I was traveling with a friend who was a relatively new friend. We were in Kampala, Uganda. We were in a newish hotel that was run not by some Australian expat, not by some Canadian expat, British expat, some kind of European or North American who's like, oh, I know what I'm going to do with my money. I'll open a hotel and have backpackers come stay with me and get listed in Lonely Planet, which I love. I love Lonely Planet. Still have my old Lonely Planets bound volumes. So a friend and I had discovered this hotel on a walk because we hated the place where we were staying. We got a good rate and stayed there. And then at the back end of the trip, this other friend and I, we'd been traveling in a group of 4. We had 3 days together in Kampala. It was delightful. Kampala, there are some issues with, every government has some policies that one can take issue with. Kampala is an easy city. If you've ever been to an African city, it's like the most chill place. If you've never been to an African city before, it's like, whoa, I don't know what's going on. So my friend and I had a wonderful time in Kampala, including the time we were waiting for a minivan to pick us up on a scheduled minivan route, which apparently wasn't scheduled. So we got picked up on a moped by a guy named Robert, who then became our tour guide and driver for the next 3 days, took us all over the city. We went over to the Baha'i temple, which he didn't know was there. Every continent has a Baha'i temple, and the one in Africa is in Kampala, quite lovely. We saw a lot of houses of worship in Kampala and ate some great food, and the day before we left, Robert came and brought us presents, which were kind of quirky and based on what he had seen as our needs. So he brought me a pen, and I can't remember what he brought my friend. And then he wrote us letters after the trip, because we had been in touch with him, and he wrote to each of us with our name and address, and then email address and phone number on the outside of the envelope. Who knows, maybe that's how the Nigerian prince found me. Anyway, the last day we were in town, we had to get up by 3 a.m. in order to make our flight out of Entebbe. There are lots of stories about Entebbe, too. If you Google it, Entebbe, close to Kampala, and where the airport is, has a lot of history. Anyway, don't write my email address the next time you send me a letter, but please, send me a letter if you feel like it. You know how to reach me.